G'day mate and welcome, because we are in the Australia Origin Series event, and by God I hope that my racing today is better than that accent that was just attempted in the start of that video. If you can do a better one than me, fair play, because I am truly awful. But we're kicking off with Danny Ricciardo boosted this weekend. And qualifying today, I've got Australia, Mexico, United States of America and Imola to show you. And yet again, we are back in the Champions Division and we are fighting for P1 rights this weekend. We are P10 to a top 10 even last week. Finished off with a P5, so hopefully we can go one better this time around. Now let's see what we're using. We are using Lewis Hamilton, and because it's dry for the first couple of races, I will be using Max Verstappen over Danny Rick, and this is the car that we're using as well. So let's get into the first race. Do let me know how you're getting on and what you need support with, but until then, let's get it on, shall we, with race 1, Australia. Welcome to race number 1, the first of qualifying this week. And we are down under for the Melbourne Australian Grand Prix. 5.3 kilometres a lap, 16 corners, 9 wins from pole position at 37.5%. And basically, Ferrari with the most wins at 8. So, I'm going to be a little bit different here because I want to get Verstappen out the way pretty quickly. And I'm going to use downforce on our second driver of Hamilton. P2, P3, and with the launch start, should make nice, easy play from the front as we face the Iceman. And lights out and away then. So can we get a good start? We do. And what about Hamilton? I didn't even boost him off the start. But it didn't come to any problems anyway, and we are in to P1 and P2 in the very first race. So very good qualifying positions there. Definitely look forward to more of the same if that's the way it goes. And we are using Max Verstappen with the Jin, so corners, we've got grip, and we've got blocking if need be as well. And the reason we've picked the softs is that we just split the strategy, especially having started P2. We've got Lewis Hamilton in P2 on the mediums, and we've got cornering, grip and tyre management of that downforce boost. And basically that is the preferred strategy usually, or using a Taurus boost for the tyres. The best way round here is a 4-4, but when I'm out front on my own with Max, I'm going to just let him take his own strategy and not worry about double stacking 4 and 4. Now let me know how you've got on recently. I know a lot of you in my Discord, link is below, are hitting some heights recently. Big wins in Contender, Challenger, top finishes in Champion. So do let me know how you are getting on, because I do love to see progression, especially those that are following the videos here on my channel. And make sure you're subbed with the little bell turned on. So, lap 3, we're going to boost Lewis Hamilton from there. That is my sort of point. I always boost from that point. And now Hamilton will take the lead. Max Verstappen will take, hopefully, P2. He's not going to, but I might be able to hold the rival up a little bit. Indeed, I can. So I'm just going to basically cement the fact that Max Verstappen is sitting very comfortably. Lewis Hamilton flying out in front, and Max Verstappen behind him is on the medium tyres, will be pitting. So we've got a net first place probably here for Hamilton. And then Max Verstappen we're going to basically kick off in about half a lap's time. And here goes Max Verstappen. We're going to get him in front of the exiting Lewis, like so. There we go, cut down. And then what we'll do is we'll accelerate away shortly and build that gap again. So a nice, easy doing so far. We've got Max Verstappen in third on the hard tyre, so he's going to be of no avail to us. So this should be a pretty set in stone P1, P2. So we'll boost from there. Max Verstappen coming around the last corner. We'll be pitting this lap. We might as well service for what it's worth. And Lewis Hamilton will just keep biding our time with the tyres. We've got absolutely no need to pit him again. We're just going to hold on green until we get a good 1.5 laps push, which will probably be in around this time in a lap's time. So, Verstappen coming into the pits. What's the gap over Hamilton? 5.2. So it'll be pretty close getting out in front of Hamilton. Will be around the 5.2 when he exits the pits. And there we go, just in front, so perfectly pitted. And Verstappen can push to the end. Now we're going to wait a little bit on Hamilton. And then we're going to start the boost phase as well. We don't need to, but why not? So we're going to start boosting from there. And yeah, Jin, great boost on here. So is Downforce, so is Taurus. You've got, if you want to hold the field up, you can use Rooster. Rooster's a good boost for holding up the field. I've used it on here as well before. Gladiator, you can potentially use to block and let your opponent, or you, sorry, overcut or undercut. There's plenty of strategies, but Max Verstappen on this last lap, starting to lap the field, coming past Ocon and now behind the Aston Martin of Vettel, and he goes wide, but it doesn't matter. He's taking the victory line because Max Verstappen, first race up in Austria, will take the win, followed by his arch nemesis Lewis Hamilton in second, and that is a very solid 47 points in the very first race. Race 2 comes from Mexico City in Mexico, and we are 4.3 kilometres ahead, 16 corners, a 45% win chance from pole. Most successful wins at the track, McLaren, Mercedes, Williams, and there is one more. Can you think of what that one is? I'll give you just after the lights to have a think. But there is one more car, along with McLaren, Mercedes, Williams, who has joint wins there. So have a think who that could be. And we'll come back to Kawhi and fireworks. Soft tyres are on. 4-4 strategy. 4 softs, 4 mediums ahead. Hamilton and Verstappen both should hit P1 in this race. P1, P2, staying on the same line. Can we get past the Red Bull? That firework helping us with the overtaken speed. And there we go. P1 and P2 to start off Mexico. And we are living life relaxed at the moment. And that other team, I mentioned one team that has joint most wins with the teams in question. And that one team was Lotus. So if you've managed to get Lotus correct, I'd be, well, very surprised. But do let me know what you thought the team was. So even if you got it wrong, let me know what team you thought it was. It's always nice little bit of trivia on a Wednesday afternoon. Nice to see F1 knowledge coming up and diving in and making you guys think as well as me. So Hamilton comes round to start lap number 3, and Kawhi boost is not very good down the straight, but it is so good through the corner sections, and Max Verstappen on the firework boost is basically an absolutely Usain Bolt equivalent down the straight. So there'll be a bit of sort of cat and mouse here. You'll have Hamilton stretch away through the middle and then Verstappen catch him up down that first sector. So we'll see overall when we start to push on the next lap after pitting, who is the faster boost. So Hamilton in P1, Verstappen now coming down as well. We've got a gap of 4.5 seconds, which is pretty perfect for me pit stop. And in fact, we'll just boost them a bit, see if we can get some clean air. We've got mediums that will go a lap longer. We've got about 5-second gap, so there's a chance that Max Verstappen comes out ahead in clear air as well. Hamilton in, and Max follows. Perfect timed pit stop. We need to get ahead, P4, I don't think we are. So we come out behind Charles Leclerc. The Ferrari ahead of us, the prancing horse. Can Firework get us through pretty quickly? And down the straight he goes. And this will be where Firework will tend to struggle a little bit compared to that Kawhi boost. And can Leclerc now on the little bit of straight push one through? Nope. So he won't be able to get, will be held up for a lap. Leclerc pits, that releases Verstappen, and Verstappen will be absolutely flying down this straight now. And hopefully try and catch up a little bit. The gap 4.3. And we are lapping Guan Yu at the minute, just lapped Mick Schumacher. Hamilton coming into the stadium section, crowd goes wild. And Verstappen following suit. And you can see the difference between the speeds. Hamilton not really getting too much past Alonso. And then down here, Verstappen will absolutely fly down. And that gap is 5 seconds now. We keep seeing each other at the same point of the track. It's a good base to judge off. And yeah, gap staying around 5 seconds now. So told you the boosts kind of even itself out. But if you want to do a lot of overtaking down the straight, then the firework is the boost. Because look at this. Look at these cars here. And watch how quick. We'll probably fly past the one that's just come out the pits. There we go. And gap's still 6.5 now. So Hamilton's flying out front. That is our entertainment in this race, because the rival, it was a double boosted rival, didn't even realise. They are P6 and P10. I know I said downforce a minute ago, but I didn't even clock on that it was a boosted rival. But that is across the line for Lewis Hamilton, across the line for Max Verstappen, and that is another easy 47 points. Race 3 at the Circuit of the America. 5.5 kilometres ahead. 10 races here, 5 wins apiece from pole and second place, so a 50% win rate. And Lewis Hamilton basically decided the title here in 2015 and 2019. And as you can see, Danny Rick comes into our equation this time round because he is the driver with a boost and it is slightly wet out there. So we are qualifying P2, P5. So a good gamble on Danny Rick then. I think if it was dry, he would have been pushed down a little bit. Rival 10th and 12th, and we want to get a good start. And we will do the boost start. Ricciardo takes the lead. Hamilton, round the outside, manages to get into P3. So a very good start from Rick and Lewis. We've got the mighty in the wet Lando Norris between our drivers, but not for any longer, because that's a brilliant move up the inside by Lewis Hamilton, showing him why he's got that many world titles under his belt. And that is now settling down into a 4-4 strategy. But weather changing looks to be every 40 seconds, and it is. So, a bit of fun in America. So we're going to have to keep our eye on basically the track conditions and the weather. It's going to go dry for approximately probably a minute and a half until rain may come in again. So I'm going to go as long as possible. I think that's the strategy here. I've got tune in, so I'm absolutely fine for a very quick pit stop. And Hamilton with the Hex, great for overtaking. So I'm going to bide my time because I don't want to push myself into the wrong strategy, especially in race 3 of qualifying. So this will be another 40 seconds, I imagine. Yep, 45. And then 45 again, which probably brings it down to basically a dry track. And then it will go wet again. So it's going to be very confusing. I imagine it's going to go wet again before it gets completely dry. Oh, what do we do? I think 5 laps is the key. I think we've definitely got to do 5 laps here. And looking at the weather, we're like a strategist sitting on the fence. We've got spotters all around the area looking out for the rain. So it's going to go down to about 65. And then I imagine we've got another 45 seconds. Yeah, another 45 seconds again. So it's going to go down to about 20. And then it's going to start raining again. So we're gonna need to go for wets. Now I imagine a lot of the AI will now go dry tyres based on my experience on the game. I imagine it'll be dry tyres for the field, whereas we're going to come back and go wets as Ricciardo starts lapping. And they already going on? Yep, so they're already going on dries. Sonoda gone at the back, gone on wets. I imagine the rest of the field, 3, 4, 5, will go dries. Yep, they will. Leclerc's on the wets, so a bit of gambling from the teams. And here we go. So another 30 seconds of rain, followed by another 2 bursts. So I think doing the 5 laps here is definitely going to pay out. As Danny Rick into the pits in P1. And Lewis Hamilton coming in, used all his tyres up. And now let's boost hard and create a gap just in case we have to come in again. But I don't think we will. And Lewis Hamilton comes back out. And look at that. So a lot of the field actually went wets by the time they pitted. There's just a couple of drivers on the dries who chanced it. But for us, we reacted to the weather, made the call to stay out. And it paid dividend because we knew what was happening with the forecast. And now it's raining till the end of the race, most likely. As we are currently lapping P16 as we start lap 7. With Danny Rick on that amazing tuning boost. One of the best boosts in the wet up there with Hex. And Lewis Hamilton currently behind Sebastian Vettel, but past him quickly. So a good 40-second changing weather for Austin. But it was no match for AZW F1 Racing. And Ricciardo now going through the field. It's absolutely carnage around there. And we are through. And that's because of the hard and soft tyres of Norris and Russell, who are still out there, causing a bit of a blockage. Almost like sewers when they get blocked. This is what's happening out here. Look, it's all over the place. Wow, cars everywhere. And Hamilton trying to lap Bottas and Ricciardo. Finally gets the job done. And Danny Rick lapping people again, lapping 22nd place again. But he's across the line for a win in America. And Lewis Hamilton will follow shortly as well. The weather has been perfected. And we've perfected another score. 3 out of 3. 47 points. Race 4. Italy and Imola. And we've kept Ricciardo in for a chance. 78,000 capacity here for the wet weather of Imola. Opened first in 1953. We've got 19 turns ahead. And the lap record held by Lewis Hamilton. So we've got some rain to begin with first. So we're going to go hex and tune in. And we're going to try and get both cars up the field. I think we've got a real player, which could pay absolute dividend to our weekend already. And hopefully not too bad. And we are off. And can we get a good start with either driver? P3, P5. But Ricciardo up to P2. Great move on P1 by Danny Rick. That's what we absolutely needed. Lewis Hamilton in P5 though hasn't made any headway early on. But Danny Rick is away at the front. So we were all good at the front. Should I have had... Oh, that's a good move by Lewis Hamilton through the chicane. And Lewis Hamilton takes in P4. We've kept him boosting inside Lando Norris. And that tuning boost coming into its own in Imola. Because Lewis Hamilton has quickly got himself up to P3. Now, one driver ahead, Lando Norris. Non-boosted Lando Norris. So we should have a good advantage using that tuning. And I think if we've got to watch out, because if a safety car comes out now, we definitely want to be looking at some dry tyres sooner or later. And Lewis Hamilton now looking at Lando Norris. Can't get the job done. And we're going to keep him conserving for now. 3 to 5 laps of wets available. And Lewis Hamilton trying to get through. Still can't do it. So we're going to boost in a lap. We can probably do 5 laps. No need to. We're going to boost Ricciardo now. We're not going to get to a point where it's too dry for some dry tyres. We need to go wets again, I believe, as Lewis Hamilton looks at the outside of Norris. Can't get it done. Hamilton now down the straight. Can we get a job done? We can. So we're up to P1 and P2. Dry weather in 45 seconds time. And it's not going to be enough for some some dry tyres just yet, but it could be later on in the race as Danny Rick enters the pits. And we are going to be absolutely caked by the AI, who is in here as well. So Danny Rick comes out. Lewis Hamilton also comes out with that tuning, so brilliant boost. Now we're going to conserve for a bit and then start to push very shortly. We've got a good gap now over P3 and P4. So this should be, hopefully, a nice, solid, what looked like a scary race 4. This could be now the top icing on the cake, the cherry on top of our berry cake. As Ricciardo coming past Sonoda and Lewis Hamilton coming not far behind. So Lewis Hamilton making up some good ground. We've got a drying track. And what's the gaps to the opponent? 8 seconds. So if we need to go to dries, we certainly can. Don't think we will have to though, because 2 laps to go. And it's still 75%. So we're going to start boosting in probably about a quarter of a lap time. We're definitely not going to need to go for dries. And Danny Rick, we will start boosting at the hairpin. So now, Hamilton really closed though on Ricciardo. Hex and tune in. Very good boosts in the wet, like we've mentioned already. Absolutely fantastic. And now Hamilton flying round with the tuning. And Ricciardo trying to get away from him. Ricciardo wants to win. It's Australia versus United Kingdom. Or England, if you want to be particular. But who's going to win the race? Ricciardo goes wide. Hamilton only now 1.3 seconds behind. Closing all the time. You can see him in the distance. Bad move there. And Lewis Hamilton sets himself on Danny Rick. Can he spoil the party? He's going to run out of time because Danny Rick takes the victory, lapping up to P7. And Lewis Hamilton taking P2. He'll have to settle for another P2 of the day. So, some little bit of excitement in the last race, but quickly averted the danger. And we do finish 47 points. So 4 races started this weekend's GP. And we are going into the weekend with a max score. So let's see where that puts us in the table, in the leaderboards for this qualifying group. And we sit 4th. So very interesting group there. 4 players on 188, and it's just going to come down to the lap time. We had a 24.0, 24.1, a 25.1, and a 25.3. So it really depends on the weather that you get at the circuit. Obviously, Imola, one of the fastest tracks on there. So obviously in the dry is going to be a faster time. But for us, that is solid 4 races, 188 points. We were loving that, and we've got one of our own at Black Sails in here as well. Good luck to yourself. Hopefully you can score max points as well. And I hope to see you later on in the week for some more F1 Clash videos and GP races. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.